The other day, my wife was talking to one of her friends, and the topic of their sex life came up, and her friend said that she doesn't like foreplay, like at all, any kind of foreplay. My wife was like, what? Wait, what do you mean you don't like it? And she's like, yeah, I find it boring, I don't really enjoy it. So my wife said, describe it to me. Describe what you're doing that is this foreplay you don't like. And so she did, and after describing it, my wife's just like, oh, okay. Yeah, that does sound unpleasant. And that kind of piqued some curiosity, so my wife started asking some of her other friends what their intimacy looks like. And it's not good. And then my wife asked, like, do you tell them, like, that this isn't good? And maybe tell them, like, this is what I might like more? And they're like, yeah, we've done that. But it doesn't seem to help. They still just do it the way they did before. So I just decide I don't like it, and we'll just go straight to boinking. So now my wife and I have a short list of these unfortunate practices that people are doing, and we're going to try them out. We've decided we're going to have bad sex night. We've picked out the least sexy music we can think of, John Denver, and we're just going to see how the other half lives. We're ready for tonight. We got our playlist ready. Everything we need. Now to set the mood. Left my underwear on the floor, next to the hamper. Oh, I gotta unmake the bed. Perfect. I'm just gonna leave these here for my wife to find after work. Got some garlic. Oh yeah. Wish us luck. Bad sex night was a success. Sort of. So here's the things we did, and I'm just gonna go through the evening and break it down for you. We started out the evening with my wife saying that she has a headache and isn't in the mood, followed by me getting really whiny and complaining. But you haven't touched my pee-pee in like 2 whole days. I have needs. Don't you love me? And she goes, oh, okay. So we're starting out the evening with role-playing coercion, which is like gross. I put some music on to really get things going. Then I immediately started kissing her way too vigorously and touching her in ways that I know she doesn't like. Touching her the way I would touch a stress ball and not a woman. Combine the way I was touching her with the music that was playing, and it felt like squeezing a clown nose. We were trying not to laugh, and we were not doing a good job of it. But once we did start to get going, just a few seconds in, I pulled back. I checked in and was like, are you okay? And she's like, oh yeah, we're doing this. I mean, I'm fine. And I was like, all right, we need to have a safe word. We need to do safety signals, because I'm not going to be able to tell if you start to actually get uncomfortable. It looks the same. We realized that we were role-playing non-consent and needed to establish our safety signal before we moved forward. And when we did move forward, I tried to way too quickly go to dry missionary boinking when she's clearly not ready, not there, but it didn't work. My body just wouldn't do it. I've never experienced ED in my life till last night. Knowing that this was not a pleasurable experience for my wife, my body just didn't respond. We were laughing and just like, what do we do? I don't know what to do. My wife said, Doug, I've never seen it that small. It's like it's trying to hide. We gave up, moved on to other activities. We're like, we'll come back to that. And told her about my foolproof system that works every time. No other women have ever complained about it. And you saw the list of what that entailed. It was not good. It was funny, but not good. Eventually got to where I'm like, okay, I think I could try to do what we tried earlier and failed to do. I think I might be ready enough. And about 5 seconds into jackrabbiting, I'm like, I have to stop. I'm uncomfortable. She was laughing and smiling, but doing that and knowing that she was not experiencing any pleasure from it, it felt too much like assault to me. We were not expecting me to be the one that it was too much for. We finished the evening with some more pleasant intimacy, but we kept the bad music playlist until it got to the Christmas shoes song and my wife started crying. Then we switched to some better music to finish out the night. That experience was hilarious, but I want to follow up and talk about the very, very serious side of it. I've said on this app before that I have no desire to assault my spouse, and I've been criticized for that by certain men, saying that either there's something wrong with me for not wanting to, or that there isn't something wrong with men who do want to assault their spouse. But what I learned from this experience is that I can't even pretend to treat my wife the way men treat their wives all the time. I have had so many comments from women saying that they either are with a man or were with a man who cared so little about their pleasure during intercourse that they skipped it altogether. It's shocking to me how many people are not having sex that they enjoy, but are tolerating sex that they don't enjoy. I'm imagining all of these relationships where women are laying there in discomfort while a man does these things to her, and knowing that he's either so oblivious and disconnected from her that he does not know how uncomfortable she is, or he does know and he just doesn't care. And in my mind, I just think, how could they not know? If this is a person they love and care about, how do they not know? They must not care. Having someone inside you, literally inside you, when you don't really want them there, and only allowing it because you know they really want to be there, is so invasive. That is not okay. And then society tells these women that there's something wrong with them because they don't want that. There is nothing wrong with you if you don't want to be invaded for someone else's pleasure. But there is something wrong with someone that has no problem invading a woman who is uncomfortable and who is not having a good time. If you don't want someone to touch you in any kind of way, but you allow them to and you tell them it's okay because you feel like it would be wrong not to, that is coercion. That is assault. You are being raped. Even if you gave them verbal consent and they're your husband or your boyfriend, if they are doing things to you that make you uncomfortable and you don't feel like you can say no, you are being violated. People are coerced, abused, and raped by their partners all the time. All right, in that video, the topic of safe words came up and what we use as a safe word. In theory, you can say to your partner during intimacy, I want to slow down, I'm feeling uncomfortable, or I want to stop. But sometimes vocalizing is hard. If you happen to be role-playing non-consent, then you obviously need a specific phrase or word to let you know that, oh, I'm being serious about this right now. A lot of people use a color system like red, green, yellow. Yellow, I want to slow down. Red, I want to stop. Green, good to go. My wife, when she gets uncomfortable or during any kind of conflict, tends to disassociate as a coping mechanism. That means it's difficult for her to express herself verbally in the moment. Our system for a long time was that I would notice her disassociating. It's very obvious, and that tells me I need to stop, I need to slow down, I need to check in with her, see what's happening. And we've had some other nonverbal cues, like if she is touching me, or especially if she's touching my head, I know that she's very into what is happening. She hasn't had that disassociation in probably over a decade until very recently. We were trying something new, and just because of what it was, I couldn't see her and I couldn't read her body language. So in that moment, I could not tell that she was disassociating, and she could not verbalize what she was feeling. It really sucked because I was crossing one of her boundaries, but I didn't know, and she couldn't tell me. Afterwards, after realizing what had happened, we talked through it and really talked about like what she was feeling, what was happening, what I was feeling, the signals I was receiving, and where did we miscommunicate? How come I wasn't able to see the signals that she was giving me? Realizing that there were cracks in our safety signals that we put in place, we created a new safety signal, and our new signal is just tapping. If she taps me like this, I know I need to stop what I'm doing, check in with her, see what's going on. Whenever you're trying something new, there is that risk that someone's going to realize they have a boundary that they didn't know or didn't think that they had. And sometimes, despite our best efforts, communication fails. And it's a time that you have to come back together, rebuild trust, talk through it, and really be open and honest about what you were feeling in that moment, what signals you were receiving, what signals you were giving, and make a new plan to make sure that those boundaries aren't crossed again. We might not have one of these situations come up for another 10 years, but it's still good to know that we have a system in place that we both feel really good about.